A retail box sitting on a shelf. One number printed across it in silver, 5.2 gigahertz. That's the number you paid for, but the chip inside that box doesn't run at that number anymore. Not since the patch. Not since the patch after that one. And nobody ever sent you the bill. So here's the asymmetry nobody really talks about. Your processor has roughly the same raw clock speed it shipped with. Same cores, same cache. On paper, nothing changed. But somewhere between the day you bought it and right now, a piece of code rewrote what your CPU is allowed to do. It made the chip slower, on purpose, to keep it safe. And the strange part, the part that should bother you, is that the slowdown is real, it's measurable, and there's no little light on the case that turns on to tell you it happened. This is the security tax, and by the time we're done, you'll be able to read your own bill. Line by line. Marketing sells you a frequency. 5 gigahertz, 5.5, whatever the headline number is. But frequency was never the thing that actually does your work. Frequency is just how many times the engine can fire per second. Throughput is how much real work comes out the other end, and those two numbers used to move together. They don't anymore. Run a clean benchmark loop, pure arithmetic, no system calls, nothing ever leaving the core. Do that, and your chip looks almost untouched. The marketing number holds, and that's the trap, because the mitigations don't live in the clean loop. They live at the borders. Run that on any modern Linux box, and the kernel will list them out for you. Spectre, Meltdown, the whole bloodline, and next to each one, the word mitigation, followed by exactly what your CPU is now paying to stay safe. Here's the key idea though. The cost isn't spread evenly across everything you do. It piles up at one specific moment. The system call, that's the instant your program stops doing its own private math and turns to the operating system to ask for something. Read a file, send a packet, allocate some memory. That handoff, that little border crossing, is exactly where the new checkpoints got installed. Most of your code never feels a thing. The code that talks to the outside world, it feels all of it. To understand what we lost, you have to understand what made these chips fast in the first place. And honestly, the cleanest way to picture it is a waiter. Picture a really good waiter. You sit down, and before you've said a single word, your usual drink is already on the table. He didn't wait for your order. He guessed, based on everything he knew about you. And he was right almost every time. When he guessed wrong, he just quietly took the drink back. No harm done. That guessing, that running ahead of the order, is the whole reason he was fast. That waiter is speculative execution. Your CPU doesn't sit around waiting to find out which branch of your code is going to run. It guesses, runs ahead, and does the work in advance. And when it guesses right, which is most of the time, the work is already finished. A huge share of modern performance comes from exactly that. The chip living slightly in the future. And then Spectre and Meltdown proved something devastating. The wrong guesses were never harmless. When the waiter took that drink back, he left a faint trace behind, a smudge on the table, and an attacker sitting at the next table over could read that smudge and reconstruct your secrets, passwords, keys, data belonging to entirely different programs. The speculation itself had become the leak, so the fix was brutal in how simple it was. Stop guessing freely. Make the waiter wait for the written ticket before he moves at all. That's what an instruction like LFENCE does. It's a fence. It tells the processor, stop, serialize, do not run ahead of this point, and there are others you'll spot in your own kernel logs, IBRS. STIBP, that's thread isolation between hyperthreads so one thread can't poison the other's guesses. Retpoline, they all do a version of the same thing. They flush buffers, they throw up barriers, they force the chip to forget what it just speculated. Every single one trades the future for safety. The waiter still has his job. He's just not allowed to guess anymore. And a waiter who can't guess is just a slower waiter. Now for the uncomfortable part. When did your CPU change? Because most of these fixes didn't come from the factory. They showed up later, through microcode. Microcode is the layer underneath the instructions you think your CPU runs. It's the firmware that defines at the deepest level what the silicon actually does. And it can be reloaded after manufacturing, after purchase. While you're asleep, bundled into an operating system update or some BIOS patch you clicked past without reading. The physical chip on your desk is the same one. What it's permitted to do got quietly rewritten. And it didn't happen once. It's been a rolling series. One vulnerability after another, each with its own patch, each with its own toll. Every name on that list is a real, documented flaw in speculative execution, and every one of them shipped with a mitigation that costs something. The most recent entry came in May 2025, branch privilege injection, discovered again by the same researchers at ETH Zurich who found Retbleed. Same category of attack, different mechanism, and it required brand new microcode from Intel. Sit with that for a second. This isn't a history lesson. It's an ongoing negotiation. Each one of those names is a line on a bill you're already paying. And in a few minutes, you'll be able to read every line yourself. But first, let's be precise about what each one actually costs you, because the internet is not. Precision is the whole point here, so let me be careful. Retbleed's mitigation was measured costing up to around 39% on affected Intel parts and up to roughly 14% on AMD in specific workloads. Downfall, also called GDS, Intel themselves projected up to 50% overhead in the worst case in heavy vector and AVX workloads, the math crunching kind, not your average task. Independent benchmarks measured up to 39% in practice, which is still high enough to matter. Then there's Inception, AMD's equivalent, also called SRSO. That one's more complicated. With AMD's microcode update applied, the overhead is minimal, well under a few percent on most workloads. But without it, relying on the software-only path, some database benchmarks measured overhead as high as 50%. Same vulnerability, completely different bill, depending on whether your firmware is current. And the original Spectre and Meltdown fixes on a typical mixed workload average out to low single digits. So, no. Your entire machine did not get 50% slower. Anyone telling you that is selling outrage. What's actually true is quieter and, honestly, more unsettling. Depending on what you run, you're paying a tax that ranges from a rounding error to a third of your performance. And the rate was set after you owned the chip, by a patch you never agreed to read. Here's why averages hide the real damage. You can't feel a 4% average. Nobody notices their build got 4% slower. So how does this tax actually reach you? Picture this. You chartered a private jet for one reason, so you'd never have to stand in a security line again. That was the entire point. Speed, no friction. Now imagine they went and installed 3 passport checkpoints inside the plane. You still get where you're going, but every time you walk to the bathroom, you get stopped, checked, cleared 3 times. The flight's average speed barely moved. Your experience of that flight is a completely different thing. That's what defensive serialization does. Every system call, every border crossing now runs through extra checks. Flush this buffer, raise this barrier, confirm this isn't an attack. Each one is tiny, but they don't smooth out, they spike. And the average is a lie your CPU tells you, because it smooths right over the spikes. Think about it this way. If 9 out of 10 requests take 1 millisecond and one takes 50, your average still looks fine. But that one request in 10, that's the one the user actually sees, which is why the metric that really matters isn't the average. It's the 99th percentile, the worst one out of every 100. In a game, that's the frame that stutters. On a server, that's the single request in 100 that hangs just long enough for someone to notice. The mitigations don't make your machine slow. They make it inconsistent. They take a smooth line and turn it jagged. And jitter is something humans feel far more sharply than a slightly lower average. And that's what you're really paying. Not in your benchmark score, in the stutter. Run that one line, and your kernel will print out, in plain text, every mitigation currently active on your machine, and what each one is doing to keep you safe. This is the bill. It was always sitting right there. You just never got handed the itemized version. Now put 2 machines side by side, a brand new flagship, fully patched, every checkpoint armed, and an older chip, hardware that predates half this timeline, running without those particular checkpoints. On a clean benchmark, the flagship wins, easily, but measure the 99th percentile under real load. The stutters, the hangs, and watch that gap start to close. The newest silicon, fully defended, starts behaving like something years older. That's not a benchmark. That's the tax made visible. Now, I have to be fair here, because this is where it gets genuinely hard. These mitigations are not a scam. The vulnerabilities are real. Without the patches, a web page could, in principle, read your passwords straight out of memory. And the truth is, I don't actually want the fast, defenseless version of my chip. That's the trap. There's no clean answer here. There's only an honest one. You can turn them off. The kernel will let you. Add that flag to your boot config, and the checkpoints come down. Your 99th percentile smooths out. Your chip runs the way the box promised it would. And you become, all over again, wide open to every single flaw in that timeline. For an offline render box, an air-gapped workstation, a machine that only ever runs code you wrote yourself, maybe that's a defensible trade. For the laptop you're watching this on, almost certainly not. So the real fix was never going to be a boot flag. The real fix is silicon that's secure because of how it's designed, not bolted on afterward with a tax attached. Chips where speculation can't leak by construction, where safety doesn't have to be paid for in stutter. That's the future actually worth wanting. Not patching the past, but building hardware that never owed the debt in the first place. The number on that box was never a lie about the silicon. It was a lie about ownership. You bought a machine. Someone else kept the right to rewrite what it could do, and to bill you for it in a currency you'll never see on any receipt. This is the second tax in a series. The first one was the aesthetic tax, how the software sitting on top, the desktop environment itself, quietly wastes the power you paid for. This was the security tax, how the silicon underneath got rewritten to keep you safe, at a cost nobody ever quoted you. Two different bills. Same machine, same silence. And both of them are patches on a foundation that was already cracked. So the real question isn't how to pay less tax on silicon. It's whether silicon is even the right foundation anymore, which is exactly where the next one goes. The breakthrough that could end silicon forever. Because every tax we've talked about assumes the thing we're taxing survives, and it might not.